a new goals review. We're already in May, I can't believe it. And as you know, I'm really working on different goals, trying to do like small steps. I'm using my Trello board most of the time, where I have like all my goals, and then I do a weekly review almost every Sunday. And then in addition, I do monthly review. Before I had everything in one card in Trello, and I realized that it got a little bit messy. So now I have like two cards. One is monthly review and one is weekly reflection. So that I have a bit spaced out, and then I can also look through the last weeks and see, okay, what did I actually do in April? And then I can put it in my monthly review part or card. As always, I use my color-coded system. Free time, travel, home, love/self-love, finance, and I have work, but I don't have any goals in there. Personal growth, social life, and health. And we're just gonna do it in that order, even though I usually have a different order. I'm ranking them by prioritization, which I usually do in my Trello board. My first category is free time, and the goal in there is to read 24 books. I think I've read now 17, so around 70%. There's not so much left. I guess I will reach it in June. That's my guess. Like in April, I read 3 books, and I think in May I would like to read 4 if I manage. Next category is travel, and here I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm currently doing the A1.2 course in Babbel. It has like 61 lessons, and I'm getting closer and closer. I think I have 70%, so that might be also be finished. Maybe not in May. Will I manage 23%? Probably not. I did 20% in April, so I did a lot, but I did most of it on vacation. So if I manage 90% by the end of May, that would be really cool. Yeah, that's my intention for next month. In my home category, my goal is to make my home a bit like a cottage, and my first focus was just to declutter a lot. I went through my winter wardrobe because now it's warm enough to switch here in Norway. I tried everything on to find out if it actually fits my current body, and then I also decided if I want to keep it or if I want to donate it. And I think I donated like such a big bag of clothes. It was really heavy, and I also organized all my clothes that I have still in my dresser in my closet, and all the winter clothes I put in a suitcase and put in the basement. And it really felt so airy and light after I had organized and cleaned everything. It looks all so much nicer, and yeah, I would say I've made a lot of progress. And now in May I'm working on the living room. I've started with the trolley over there. That's kind of like my catch-it-all trolley. So I have started on that, and I also started with the first drawer here at the desk, but slow progress. It would be really amazing if I finished this part here in May. That's kind of like my goal. Then I have a love category, and first goal is I practice self-love, self-care and secure attachment on a daily basis. And I think a lot happened for me in April. I've actually become an intuitive eater, and I'm gonna talk about that in the health category, but that really is about like self-trust and learning to just listen to yourself and being really nurturing just to yourself. So that's still a very interesting phase that I didn't thought I would get into. So that's one. I also started the bikini series, which I always love to do. And the thing is, I've done the Tone It Up bikini series many times, and I always would give up after 2 weeks. Now we're 3 weeks in and I'm still there. So I'm really proud that I've learned to be a bit more consistent. Even though you have maybe a bad day or you fall off, you just get back on the next day. And that's really nice to see that there's a lot of progress. I also found a few new podcasts that I find really interesting, like the Tara Brunette podcast that is about manifestation with intuitive eating. That's a combination that I found a bit hard to find. I found 2 other podcasts. One I also like, but I don't know the name right now. But the other one was like Manifestation Doll, something like that. Felt like the podcast is just kind of like teasing on things. You don't really learn anything. She's always referring to her courses, so that didn't help. But the Tara Brunette podcast, that sounds fun. I really enjoy listening to it on my way to work. For May, I would like to work on a little bit more, not consistent morning routine, just a little bit more anchoring into self-trust and grounding, kinda. So we'll have to see how we're gonna work out for that. The second goal in that category is I learned how to manifest, and that is a very broad category, and I have like my manifestation practice in the evening, but now that I found this one podcast I just talked about, one problem that I have is that she's talking very fast. Sometimes she's kind of like jumping a bit, and there's also like sound issues. The quality is not always the best, I would say, and I find it really hard to listen to it, but I find her content so valuable. But then now I found a website where you can just put the link to the podcast, and then they transcribe the whole podcast for you, and they even make like FAQs of it. They make a normal summary and a detailed summary, and you can ask AI, I think, like 3 questions, so you can really work with the content. And like, that's my jam, that's what I love. So this month I want to work on keeping like this manifestation practice in place by really engaging with the content that I get for free. So yeah, I think there's a lot of valuable things that I can learn from there. Then I have a finance goal, and that's to save 60,000 Norwegian krone. And last month I didn't make any progress, but something changed. I'm currently at 67% for that, so I definitely saved a bit up now. But although I have like results, I haven't really worked on the habits that I wanted to work on, like getting back on track with tracking my expenses. So that's still an intention for me. In my social goal, I want to be a good friend, and I want to find 2 new friends this year. And I've met actually 2 new people this month, and I also saw some friends that still new, where the friendship is just developed. And April was just so lovely because I saw my friends back home in Germany, and I saw a lot of friends here, and I had just a great time with a lot of people, and exploring a bit of Oslo and getting to know new people is always very interesting. And yeah, I'm very happy with that progress, and I would say I just want to continue that in May. In May there are a few days where we have holidays, and we're celebrating 17th of May, Eurovision, so I really just want to spend time and get to know all these people a bit more. In my health category, I had a goal about nourishing my body, but also losing weight. And interestingly enough, after I came back from my vacation, I realized that I was an intuitive eater now. So, which is fun. It's a very interesting place to be. But I also realized, well, if I trust my body to eat what it needs, then I can't really have a weight loss goal anymore, because I can't control it anymore. I just have to let it be and go where it goes. And that still feels a bit scary. I do believe that my body will release some weight, but I don't know where it will end up. And that's why I had to change that goal. And now it's called I nourish, support, and trust my dream body in a compassionate and consistent way. And this is kind of like an identity shift that I have already, like I have already all the habits in place, but I definitely see in my mind as like, oh, okay, how are we gonna do that now? And it's just like starting a new job after you being promoted. You kind of like, you're now in this new place, but there's still things lacking behind, and that's kind of like how my feeling is about it. And that's also why I really like the Tara Burnett podcast for that, because it really helps me to look at my body a bit differently and really, for example, changing my language. Like, I'm not saying overeating anymore, but saying eating past my satiety, taking out labeling words or kind of like putting meaning to certain things that are happening. And yeah, I think this month was just about like continuing on integrating this new place I am, and trusting the process. My second goal in the health category is to complete 100 workouts this year. And I mean, I did like a full go in January, and then I got so many injuries, and then I kind of like fell a bit off in February, and then I started to pick up pace again in March. But I would say now in April, I was very consistent working out 2 or 3 times a week. I had like 9 workouts this month, so at the moment I'm total at 37 workouts, and I mean that's perfect pace, and I would like to complete 10 workouts in May. That would be really good. I also got a third goal in the health category, and that is to complete the soft bikini series that I have created. It kind of like entails that I work out around 2 or 3 times a week. I sometimes try a new recipe, and I also check in my Facebook group where we all do that challenge together. And yeah, it's actually a really fun place to be. It's very motivating to see the others doing things, and I think I'm doing really well. And I think for May I'm just kind of like, well, I want to continue it. It will end in June, so I think it's week 3 to 7 that I want to complete in May. So that was my update on my yearly goals. I would say that almost all of them are doing really well. I'm really working on doing small steps, doing my weekly review, and then deciding one thing I want to focus on in a week. Not kind of like overdoing it. Some of the goals that I have are intertwining, because sometimes I get like the bikini series goal is just like one for 2 months, and then it's kind of like completed. And some of them, of the goals that I have, are like for the whole year. So some goals I know that they're kind of like overlapping, so I decided then one to pause for this month and not doing any updates on them every week, because I don't need to, and then I can do an update at the end of the month and maybe put them back in when I'm ready for that. But thank you so much for watching. Next week will be part 2 of my Germany travel series. Have a wonderful day.